Multi-row subqueries. We just learned what a subquery was and how to write a single row subquery. This works when our subquery returns a single row, such as AVG or average. But if the subquery did not return a single row, say if it was the lowest 3 salaries, it would say where salary is greater than X, Y, and Z, which are your 3 values. This would cause an error in our query, as you can't use a greater than or an equal sign, for example, with multiple values. That's where the multi-row subquery comes in. A multi-row subquery is a subquery that returns multiple rows. It can be used in a similar way inside your SQL queries. But instead of using an operator that expects one value, such as equals or greater than, we need to use an operator that can handle multiple values. We can use in, or greater than any, or less than all, for example. And the in keyword or in operator is probably the most common. Let's say we wanted to find all employees where their department is either sales or finance. We could do this using a join and a where clause, but we'll use this just as a simple example on using multi-row subqueries. Let's see this in action. So let's take a look at our department table. You can see we have our 2 columns here. Now, we want to see all employee records where their department is either sales or finance. First, we write our subquery. Select from department where department underscore name in sales or finance. This will show us 2 rows. Now, we write the outer query. We're going to select employee ID, first name, last name, department ID. Then we have from employee, which is the table we want to get the data from. Then our where clause, where department underscore ID. Then we want that in, and then we have an open brackets here. We then close the brackets at the end of the query here. We've used in because we're not sure if there'll be one or multiple records in this list here. Let's indent our query. When we write subqueries in the where clause, we need to ensure that the value on the left, which is department ID, matches the value on the right, which are the columns in the select clause here. We're checking where department ID, so in the select clause in the subquery, it should only show department ID and only show one column. So we need to remove that department name column. If it shows 2, you'll have an issue when you run the query. It'll say too many values. Let's remove that department name here and run the query. You can then see the results here. It shows all employees that have department ID 2 or 7, which match to sales or finance. So that's how a multi-row subquery works. There are many more uses for this type of query other than doing something that a join can do. But knowing how to write a multi-row subquery is a good skill to learn. Next, we'll look at inserting, updating, and deleting data from tables.